Initial Thoughts is a spoiler-free movie review series. All opinions are my own.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Initial Thoughts, a series in which we talk about films as and when they are released. Today's film we're talking about is Minecraft, or a Minecraft movie, whichever you prefer, which is directed by Jared Hess and stars Jack Black and Jason Momoa. So in this last number of years, we seem to have had quite a flurry of video game adaptations, whether that be on the big screen, whether that be on the TV screen. Either way, there's been a lot. And years ago, I think I've talked about this on multiple occasions, you've had real stinkers when it came to video game movies, and there was a little bit of a stigma around these kind of movies that they're kind of never going to be good. They're never going to be any kind of quality, maybe mindless fun, maybe guilty pleasure is a word that seems to be going hand in hand with the older ones. I think of something like the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movies of the early 2000s with Angelina Jolie, which for me, I can acknowledge how terrible they are, but there is a slight tinge of guilty pleasure in there with those. And that, for me, for the longest time, and maybe for some of you guys as well, was what video game adaptations were. The games were great, the games had a lot of love and craft and heart into them, but they never really translated well to the big screen. You know, studios get in the way, and it's just, well, people like this, let's pump a lot of money into it, and let's hope it's going to make us even more money back. And for a little while, that was the case. And well, actually, probably for a longer period, that was the case, from probably all the way back to that original Super Mario Brothers movie in, what was it, the 80s, maybe the early 90s, whatever it was. It was a while ago. And all that period, there really wasn't there wasn't much quality in this subgenre of film. But then you get to this last few years, and I know I've mentioned this kind of tirade in a little bit of previous. I talked about this when I talked about Borderlands last year as an example of, you know, there always is the stigma of video game movies not so good. But there's been ones that have broke the mold in this last while. I think of the Sonic trilogy now. I know there's going to be more films. Again, I always said when I seen the most recent Sonic, and even with the other two, I wish video game movies were like that when I was growing up. The Super Mario Brothers, not the original one I mentioned there. The one, was it last year, maybe the year before, the Chris Pratt, you know, heavy or high level quality cast of voice actors for it, and in a surprisingly enjoyable movie. And then you have the TV side of things, you know, Fallout, you have Last of Us. Video game adaptations I would say for a larger portion now, are very good. But the reason I mentioned Borderlands there last year as an example is because I'm saying what I said then now, because there's a lot of great, but there is ones that you kind of think, oh, I hope it's not as bad as the first trailer looks. But you always go in with an optimism, you go in with an open mind, and you hope to be proven wrong. You know, your gut instinct and your initial opinion, you know, it might turn me around, and maybe the trailer just wasn't great, but the movie was good. And to be honest, that's where I land with Minecraft. I thought the first trailer and the trailers I've seen for this, you know, after the fact, and between now and then and the release of when the first trailer dropped to now of seeing the film, I kind of assumed the worst for this, if I'm honest. Really bad trailer, and a film that looked very... where to even start? It looked very much like Borderlands. And to be honest with you, ahead of time I will say that, and I will be harping back to Borderlands quite a lot, because Borderlands, if you can't tell, is one that I did not like whatsoever. I think it is the worst video game adaptation, certainly of this last 5 to 10 years, and it honestly is up there with one of the worst I've seen. And it also falls into the category of, let's slap a popular IP with some big name actors and actresses, and let's not put any care into the story or love into the, you know, it's certainly not a passion project for anybody involved. It's just, well, people like this will make money. And for me, that feels so heartless. It feels so shallow. And it also, it's very transparent as an audience member watching these films. And that brings us to Minecraft. So did it surprise me? Did it make me kind of go against my gut instinct? And did it tilt the needle a little bit to go, do you know what? I actually had quite a lot of fun with Minecraft, or was it more in the line of Borderlands? Well, here's what I will say first of all. Let's start with the positives of Minecraft. And the positive, you know, I'm sure there'll be some people you'll hear talking about this film and they'll go, there's absolutely no positives. But I don't think that's fair. One of the biggest positives, and maybe the main positive of Minecraft, is the visuals. I think if you're doing a live action blend, you know, you've got Jack Black in a Minecraft world, visually, it probably couldn't have been better on the eyes, if you get what I mean. You know, the attention to detail and the different characters and character models that have come from the game into this adaptation. I think visually it's a nice movie to look at. And I think for the credit of, you know, the CGI and all the work that was done to create this Minecraft world on the big screen, I think kudos to the people that did that, the visual department and everything in that regard. I think they did pretty well. And that's the end of the positives, because let's talk about the negatives. And by negatives, I mean basically everything else in Minecraft. Now, what I will say first of all, Borderlands is worse. Definitely. Borderlands is a far worse film. It feels far more, the things I said there, far more heartless, far more soulless, far more shallow, far more of a studio just going, this'll just take your money because people like this. I think for Minecraft, there is a little bit of that, but not in as much of an egregious way as it did with Borderlands. But there really isn't a lot to love in Minecraft at all. And if you, like me, have heard the early indications from people seem to have ranged from, it's fine, but nothing to write home about, or they've hated it and thought it was a disaster. I fall somewhere in between those two. Because in some ways, Minecraft is terrible. I mean terrible. And the main thing that is terrible is the story, and I put that very much in quotation marks. Because the thing with any video game adaptation, you know, Super Mario, Sonic, Fallout, whatever it may be, a lot of those video games have a story to be told. And this is where I will give the studio certainly not a bye ball, but I will acknowledge this. Minecraft doesn't have a story. Yes, there is that kind of almost like a DLC Minecraft story mode. And for context, I've played a little bit of Minecraft. Not that much, but I can certainly recognize most of the things in the movie to go, oh, that's from the game. But I do have to say that story-wise, this is one of the poorest scripts I have seen or listened to or been part of viewing in a good while. And it's right up there with the worst. Because the script is just, how do we get from A to B? And it's not in a way that feels organic. It's not in a way that feels natural. It feels more like everything is just slapped together by someone. This film feels like it was written by an intern who was told, you've got a weekend to play Minecraft, and then on Monday you're going to write the whole script. First time, one take, this is the script. And that's what this feels like. Because it's just, and also the intern in this in this example would have been, you have to include each part of the game. You know, you have to include each creature, each item, each, trait of Minecraft, kind of breaking trees and then the wee blocks and then they can, the feeling of Minecraft. You have to want that. But for the biggest thing for me that I thought was so obvious from the start, and at the start, obviously you get transported as an audience member into this Minecraft world, and it's, oh, look at that, and no, that's very true to the game, and that's very true to the game. And that kind of happens for the first 5-10 minutes, and then it happens for the 15 minutes, and 20 minutes, and 30 minutes, and an hour and a half. The whole movie becomes, look at this, and look at this, oh, look at this, do you remember this? Oh, and look at that. And the whole film is really just member berries. The whole film is just, oh, look, you know that from the game. But in between all of that is some of the worst dialogue, one of the most nothing storylines there is. And I think for my limited knowledge on the game, the idea of Minecraft is you're building your own story. It's how creative can you be, and particularly for children, you know, and for kids to go into this, and yes, Jack Black is doing the Jack Black thing, but worse than he did years ago, you know, because in my most maybe delusional but also most optimistic, my hope was going into Minecraft and it'd be like Jumanji. You know, characters transport into this world, but it's very fun for what it is. It's not the most brilliant film of all time by any means, but there's certainly enjoyable and good comedic moments. Everything that Jumanji has in, you know, the most recent Jumanjis, I mean, you know, with Jack Black and The Rock and Kevin Hart and Karen Gillan, and that dynamic, that works very well, and that set of characters works well, and also the story being told is also a lot more enjoyable in that. Minecraft just goes, let's slap a few characters together, you know, let's put Jack Black and Jason Momoa and a surrounding cast who are really poor. really poor. And Jason Momoa, I'll be honest, I quite enjoy Jason Momoa in films in general, but I don't think he's a good actor. I think he's fun to see on screen. His most serious role, and I suppose it is a serious role, is Duncan Idaho in Dune Part 1. I like him in that, but he also feels like almost the comic relief, even in that very serious film and that very drama-driven narrative in Dune. For this, he's more like he is in Fast X, a film I did not like whatsoever. He's just all the characters in here, and Jack Black more than anybody. Jack Black seems like he's having a blast. I'll say that. And that also applied to him in Borderlands as Claptrap. That applied to him in Super Mario. And it now is he's appeared in 2 pretty stinky video game adaptations and 1 pretty good one in Super Mario. But, you know, it really is. It's about what you would expect for this movie to be. When you've seen the trailer, you could probably guess exactly how you're going to feel walking out of the cinema seeing this. I just thought it lacked charm. It lacked charisma in the right areas. It lacked any kind of story. And listen, I get it. It's a kids or like a family film. It doesn't have to be the most serious movie of all time. It doesn't have to have the most tightly knit narrative. Certainly not. But I think on the flip side, you know, kids' movies can be made with heart nowadays. We see that. There is no better example than kids' film being made by someone like Pixar. You know, every one of their films, and listen, not every single one of their films is an absolute hit, but in all of their films, all of them, there is heart, there is care, and there is passion for what they are making from everyone involved. It's clear from the first 10 minutes of Minecraft that it falls into the category of a film that is just, people like Minecraft, kids especially love Minecraft, they'll tell their parents, can you take me to see Minecraft please? And I'll take 4 of my friends, and then the cinemas, and the money comes in, and that's what this is. And for me, kids' movies and family films can be so much more than this, and have been in even more recent things. You know, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, certainly I'm not the target audience for that or this. But when I look at those 2 films, both video game adaptations, both, you know, building on really popular IPs, one has a lot of quality and a good heart at its core, and the other one is this. And for me, that's just such a shame that we're going in such a good direction for video game movies, and that trope of them all being pretty rubbish has fell away a little bit. But movies like Borderlands and now Minecraft, they belong with the old video game adaptations, and that's a shame. Let's get the rating time. As I say, I didn't hate it as much as I hated Borderlands. I just thought it felt very studio driven. Let's get money on this existing IP, and it just it's about what you would expect from Minecraft. It's not a disaster. It's not the worst film you'll ever see. But it just comes across as almost pandering from minute 1. It's full of member berries, and I It's just remember this instead of any actual quality. Minecraft is a 4 out of 10. I didn't expect it to be great. I'm not sitting here going, oh, I thought this would have been a 6 or a 7. I never thought that. But it still disappointed me, even with very low expectations. So make of that what you will. Minecraft is pretty stinky. And I don't think I'll want to see it ever again. But you go and make your own opinion as always. This is just my thoughts on it. I always implore you to go and see the film for yourself and you make your own opinion. But yeah, that has been my thoughts on a pretty stinky movie. Hopefully the movies upcoming in the next month, 2 months, and into the summer period will be a lot stronger. Looking at the list of movies coming out, we have a lot of good ones on the way. I'm very excited for those. I'll be here, either on the YouTube channel, the TikTok, on Letterboxd, wherever you follow me or you wish to follow me. I would love you for that. If you want to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, let me know you enjoyed this video. Follow me on TikTok. There's a lot of mini reviews there that maybe aren't the biggest releases of the year, but I'm probably more active over there than I am on YouTube. And if you follow me on Letterboxd, that's where you'll see everything I do. Well, everything I do movie-wise, you'll see it there. But I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talking about yet another movie. If you enjoyed this, as I say, please leave a like. Let me know you enjoyed it. And if you want to stick around, I'd love you for it. And if you do, I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Before you go, here are some of my other videos. For updates and information on upcoming videos, the best place to find us is my Twitter. Much love, everyone.